Hi class, welcome to EdVantage. I'm Dr. Fabio Correa. Welcome to Spanish. Bienvenidos. In today's class, we are going to learn about direct object pronouns. To start with, let's take a look at the following sentences. Let's identify the objects of the following sentences. Take a close look at these three sentences. I want that car. I bought some flowers. I see my teacher. I would like you for a second to take a look at these three sentences and try to identify the object of the sentence. How do we identify an object in a sentence? Well, we ask this question. What plus the verb or whom plus the verb? Take a look at the first sentence. I want that car. What is what we want? That car. So that's correct. That car is the direct object. In the second sentence, I bought some flowers. Some flowers is the direct object because it's what do I buy? I see my teacher. Whom I see? My teacher. So in these three sentences, we have identified what we call the direct object because they directly receive the action of the verb. So let's take a look at what we can do with these sentences. Instead of saying, I want that car, in English you would say, I want it, right? The pronoun it replaces the word car. And in Spanish, we do the same thing. We try to avoid repetition. So what or whom in Spanish become what we call direct objects. And for that reason, they can be replaced to avoid repetition. It's very easy when we are talking to a native speaker and we hear the person in the response or second sentence to replace what they were talking about. It's very important that when we talk about objects that you match and agree gender and number of these objects. So be very careful when you see that sentence. So let's take a look. In English, you have the pronouns me, you, him, her, or it, us, and them. In Spanish, take a look. Me, te, lo, or la, remember, lo for masculine, la for feminine, nos, and finally the plural, los and las. So keep this in mind because from now on, every time we see an object in Spanish, in the response or in the second sentence, the speaker is going to use a replacement, a direct object pronoun. Very good. Are you ready to continue? When the pronouns are present, when two objects are present in the same sentence, one is feminine and one is masculine, the masculine will dominate. For example, take a look at this sentence. ¿Dónde compras el pan y la leche? Where did you buy bread and milk? Take a look. Bread is masculine, milk is feminine. I could have said lo and la, but when I put them together, I say los compro en el mercado. Good. I use los to replace both of them. When we use with people, like the verb call, I call Carlos and Ana. In the response, I would say, yes, I call them. Carlos is a male, Ana is a female. We use the masculine plural in this case. Excellent. So, what we do is, why is there the necessity to use these pronouns? These pronouns can only be used with transitive verbs. They cannot be used randomly. They have certain rules. A transitive verb is that verb in Spanish or in English that requires an object. Take a look at this list. The following verbs, if you notice in Spanish, all of them will require an object. Let me go through the list. Mirar, comer, cambiar, esperar, conocer, ver, beber, leer, necesitar, escuchar, buscar, escribir, and tener. This is a very short list, but this is the list of the most common transitive verbs in Spanish. Next time you see any of these verbs, pay attention because an object might be coming right after. Not all of verbs require a direct object. So, those verbs that are not transitive are called intransitive verbs. And here is a common list of verbs that will not accept a direct object. I highlighted these two main verbs because these are the most common ones to people who have a little bit of doubt before they use the direct object pronoun. Ir and gustar. Ir to go, gustar to like. Even though ir and gustar are random, irregular verbs, they don't require an object. Llegar, caminar, viajar, venir, dormir, trabajar, and entrar. None of these verbs have an object in their sentence. They usually have a place or a period of time. Very good. So what do we do with the pronouns? We have to be very careful where to place these pronouns. So pay attention. Identify how many verbs there are in the sentence. And then we are going to place it right before the verb. Take a look at this sentence. I buy it. Lo compro. In English, you will place the direct object pronoun at the very end of the sentence, right? I buy it. But in Spanish, we place it right before the verb. What happened in the case of you have two verbs? Well, there are two alternatives. The very first one, obviously, you will put it before the first verb. For example, in this sentence, I'm gonna buy it. Yo lo voy a comprar. Try not to place the pronoun lo in between the two verbs. Place it before the verb, or second alternative, place it attached to the second verb. Yo voy a comprarlo. I'm gonna buy it. So this is pretty much following the same structure of English. All right, let's take a look at some more examples so you can see how to apply this. If I ask this question, ¿Quieres comprar esa casa? Do you want to buy that house? What do you think the response will be? Yes, sí, la quiero comprar. In this case, I place the pronoun before the two verbs. But take a look in the second response. Sí, quiero comprarla. Yes, I want to buy it. What happens when the question has a preposition a before a person? Like in the verb conocer, for example. That is called the personal a. Well, that a will disappear in the answer. For example, in the question, ¿Conoces a Carlos? Did you know Carlos? In the response, you don't need a anymore. You just simply replace Carlos. Sí, lo conozco. Or no, no lo conozco. Are you ready for more examples? Let's see. ¿Dónde consigues los libros de español? Think about the underlined section of this sentence. I underlined the object. What will be the pronoun that best replaces los libros? You guessed it right. It's los. The response is los consigo en la biblioteca. I get them in the library. ¿Quién prepara la cena en tu casa? Who makes dinner at home? I underlined dinner because it's what, or excuse me, who prepares it? The response will be correct. Mi mamá la prepara. La replaces dinner. ¿Dónde pones los platos y las servilletas? Where do you place plates and napkins? Good. We are going to put together plates and napkins in one pronoun. And you guess it, it's los. Los pongo en la mesa. All right, let's continue and see if you have more practice for you. Answer these questions. ¿Vas a necesitar dinero? Take a look. There are two verbs. So place the pronoun before or after the second verb. What pronouns will you use to substitute dinero? You guessed it, right? It's lo. Sí, lo voy a necesitar or voy a necesitarlo. ¿Conoces a Jennifer López? No, no la conozco. Or maybe you know her, you say, sí la conozco. ¿Estás preparando el desayuno? Look, there are two verbs. Desayuno is the object, which will be replaced by lo. Correct. Two answers. ¿Lo estoy preparando o estoy preparándolo? Be very careful when you add an extra syllable to a gerund verb, like esperando, because the word becomes longer. So phonetically, you will need an accent. So be very careful next time. That's what I always recommend, that you place the direct object as option number 1, right before the 2 verbs. Although it's very common to use the second one. Let's see how we can summarize this. What do we use here in the direct object pronouns? They replace objects or people. Why? We use it in responses mostly, especially to avoid this repetition of the same object. Where? Remember, identify if there's one verb or 2 verbs. If there's one verb, place it before the 2 verbs, the verb. And if there are 2 verbs, place it attached to the second verb. When? Remember to use it only with transitive verbs. No need to use it when the verb does not require an object. And if you doubt a little bit and you don't know what to do, it's okay not to replace it. Thank you very much. I hope this video has helped you. Thanks for watching. Please click on the EdVantage logo to subscribe to this channel. Muchas gracias. Nos vemos hasta la próxima.